everyone, I am Kamal, your chemistry teacher. I hope you all are fine and doing well at home. So, in the previous video we have started chapter number 2, that is physical and chemical change, and in that case we have studied physical and chemical changes, desirable and undesirable changes. So, today we are going to study periodic and non-periodic changes, reversible and irreversible changes, and exothermic and endothermic changes. So, we started with periodic and non-periodic changes. So, first one is the periodic changes, the changes that occur repeatedly after a regular interval of time and whose occurrence can be predicted. That type of changes are called the periodic changes that are repeated after a regular interval. So, the non-periodic changes are those changes that do not repeat itself after a regular interval of time. That type of changes are non-periodic. So, the examples of periodic changes. First example is movement of the pendulum. The pendulum moves at back and forth position. At a regular interval of time, it reaches its original position after a regular interval of time. So, our next example is hands of the clock. The hands of the clock reaches at the same position after a regular interval of time. So, the next one is the phases of moon. You know that moon has many phases. So, moon shows each phase after a regular interval of time. So, it is a periodic change. So, next are the examples of the non-periodic changes. First one is the earthquake. Earthquake is an example of non-periodic change because we cannot make any prediction about the earthquake. So, it is a non-periodic change. Next one is the cyclone. Cyclones also a non-periodic change because it occurs non-periodically and we cannot give any prediction of it. Next is the volcanic eruption. It occurs also at any time. Next one is the difference between the reversible and irreversible changes. First one is a reversible change. The changes that can be easily reversed. That type of changes are called the reversible changes. And irreversible changes, the changes that cannot be easily reversed. So, that type of changes are irreversible in nature. So, in this we have going to study the examples. So, first the examples of reversible change. First one is the melting of ice. You know that after heating the ice will changes into the water form, and after cooling the water it will changes into the ice form. So, this is a reversible reaction. We can easily get ice from the water and water from the ice. Next one is the stretching of rubber. While stretching the rubber, it changes its shape and size, but after releasing the rubber, it attains its original shape and size. So, it is also a reversible change. Next are the examples of irreversible changes. First one is the burning of matchstick. After burning the matchstick, it can never attain its original position. So, it is a non-reversible change. So, the next example is germination of seed. After germination the seed, it changes into the baby plant and can never goes back to its seed position. So, it is also a non-reversible change. So, next is the difference between the exothermic and endothermic changes. First one is the exothermic. Exo means exit and thermic means heat. So, a change that releases energy in the form of heat. That type of change is called the exothermic change. In this, reactants have more energy than that of the products. In endothermic, endo means enter and thermic means heat. So, a change that absorbs energy in the form of heat. That type of changes are called the endothermic changes. So, here the products having more energy than that of the reactants. So we will see the examples of endothermic changes, and the first one is rusting of iron. This change releases energy in the form of heat. So when the heat is released, then that type of changes are called the exothermic changes. So this is an exothermic change. Second one is the burning of sugar. Burning of sugar also releases heat, and this can happen only in the case of exothermic changes. So this is the example of exothermic changes. So next is the examples of endothermic changes. So in this, the first one is the evaporation of water. So you know very well that evaporation process, the water changes into the vapor form and the energy is absorbed in the form of vapors. When the energy is absorbed by a reactant for the formation of product, then that type of changes are called the endothermic changes. So the evaporation of water is also a endothermic change. So the next one is the melting of ice cubes. Melting of ice also absorbs heat and changes into a water form. So the melting of ice cubes is also an example of endothermic change, because in this energy is absorbed by the ice cubes for the formation of water. So it is an example of endothermic change. So I hope you like this video. Thanks and have a nice day.